Even as the U.S. surpasses another staggering benchmark, 32 million COVID cases, tonight the CDC faces growing pressure and questions over its long-standing guidance on face masks outdoors.
It's not that hard to wear a mask.
With 24 states repealing that very mandate,
burn the masks, get rid of them.
Even scientists agree the risk of transmission is much lower outside, but crowd size or lack thereof and vaccination status makes a big difference. The CDC director says the agency is looking into the matter, but notes COVID cases are on the rise again.
We will be looking at the outdoor masking question, but it's also in the context of the fact that we still have people who are dying of COVID.
Because most Americans are not fully vaccinated, easing the restriction that saves lives won't happen overnight. And now vaccination supply in many areas is outpacing demand. After quickly climbing to record levels, first shots are starting to decline at a worrisome pace.
We need to get as many as we can vaccinated.
Mississippi and Alabama have the worst vaccination rates in the nation as hospitalizations rise to alarming levels.
And now there's a clear divide over who is and isn't vaccinated. At Dodger Stadium this weekend, fans with proof can sit in a fully vaccinated section, but they have to wear a mask on game day.
Still, vaccinations are no guarantee. At a Kentucky nursing home, the CDC says an unvaccinated healthcare worker managed to infect 22 residents and staff who were fully vaccinated. While most showed no symptoms, one died. Tonight, as fewer Americans seek protection, many are also demanding more freedom.
Miguel, we're hearing tomorrow we may know more about the future of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
That's right, Lester. The CDC Advisory Committee could lift that pause as early as tomorrow, as was the case overseas earlier this week. If that happens, they could start administering J&J here as early as tomorrow night.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.